All right. So before everything, just give me a minute. Okay. So first of all, let me introduce myself. I'm Divya. I have about 7.6 years of IT experience, and basically I'm a data analyst. I have knowledge on data science, and I have about 4+ years of experience into online trainer. Okay. I have experience in teaching SQL, Tableau, Power BI, Python, statistics, and machine learning. Okay, so here today you all are here to learn MySQL, right? So before starting our class, first I want to understand or I want to know how many of you are here. How many of you are from IT background, and how many of you are from non-IT background, and how many of you are from how many of you are freshers here? Please respond in chats. Are you freshers or do you have any experience? Okay. Please, guys, let's keep this okay. Let's keep this session interactive. Okay. Everyone, please respond.
Sure,
Then
madam.
let's experience. Okay.
Yeah, I am in SQL DB, madam.
SQL DBA. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So I can see some students are freshers and someone are having some experience. IT professional with 2 years of experience. Okay. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you for responding. So basically, SQL is very easy to learn language. And I can see SQL is very important subject in IT industry. Okay. Whether you are from non-IT background also, no problem. If you don't have any, experience in coding also, don't worry. SQL is very easy to learn. You can easily understand SQL, but you need to practice a bit. Okay. Everyone, even IT candidates or non-IT candidates, we will become pro, we will become perfect in SQL with practice only. And in my course, I will teach everything very practically with some real-time database. Okay, like many other institutes, we won't teach here only the subject. Like most uh, they will teach only the concepts and the syntaxes. Here, we don't do like that. Basically, in this course, I will use Netflix database. Okay, that is movies database. So any search database, if we use any real-time database, then we can get idea and practice easily, so that you can, once you join in any company, when you see that big data, you can relate to that uh, database very easily. Okay, so in that perspective, here I will use Netflix database and explain each and every concept on that database only. Okay, and I can say only one thing: SQL is a backbone to the IT industry. Whether if you are a fresher and if you want to start your career as only into as a SQL developer, also that is fine. Or if you want to shift your career into data analytics or data science, or maybe into full stack development, whatever maybe, if, whatever domain you may select, SQL is must to learn subject. The basics of the SQLs you should know for sure. Okay. So now let's start today's class. Okay, no problem. Now, non-IT candidates also, you can learn SQL very easily. No need of any worries. Okay. All right. So before understanding what is SQL, first let's talk something about data. Okay. So why data becomes so important nowadays? from last few years, data generation has increased, right? We all have started generating lot of data, correct?
Yes, madam.
Right. We are using or we are generating data, a lot of data, right? I think my screen is visible to you, right?
Yes, madam. Yes, madam.
Great. So what is the reason behind this? What is the reason why we are using a lot of data? I can say that is digitalization, right? That is, we are using a lot of apps in smartphones and generating a lot of data every second, right? We are spending a lot of time with the internet nowadays, like maybe Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, or watching any series like that. This is all about apps, okay? And this is nothing but data. Whatever we are using, all these applications, everything will be in the form of data only, right? We will, by using any application, we will generate lot of data. And this is just about the applications. If we talk about gadgets, all our gadgets today nowadays, it is connecting to the internet only, like smart watches, maybe smart TVs, ACs. We have some Alexa, Siri kind of thing, right? These are all are connected to the internet, right? And every one of us are using them on daily basis, correct? See, what is happening is, with all these things which we are doing here, we are generating the data, okay? And that's the reason data became super important for us. And within the data only, some very interesting insights will be there. You know, with that data only, we can analyze the data, and it will help the business people to to take any better decision making kind of thing. You know, like how to increase their profits and everything they can analyze with the help of the data only. Okay. First, let me give one example for you. Netflix. We will all use Netflix, right? Many of us, while using Netflix, we may observe some like something like movie. We will get some suggestions, right? We can see movies you may like or a series you may like, kind of thing, right?
Yes, madam. Yeah, boys.
Yeah, that is basically called as suggestions. Okay, what happens here? If you observe, the suggestions will be almost related to the content which you have watched previously, correct? How Netflix people will get to know to give you the exact suggestions for you. In the backend, what it happens in the sense, whenever you will register or whenever you will first log in into the Netflix, what you will do, maybe you will log in with your mobile number, or maybe you will log in with your Gmail ID, right?
Yes, madam. Username or password. Yeah, correct.
Username and password you will give. Perfect. So if you remember, whenever you are whenever you are registering, you are creating your Gmail account, at that time also, we need to give some kind of data to them. Like we will give along with the Gmail ID, we will mention our phone number, we will give our name, full name, and we will give our age and gender as well. Correct? So
Yes.
by default, with the Gmail or with the Google, all these details will be stored for every user. For sure, we need to give the age and the gender, right? And whenever we are using all the remaining apps, maybe, like it may be e-commerce apps like Amazon, Flipkart, sorry, Amazon, Flipkart, or Facebook, Instagram, Netflix, everything, any application, whenever you are logging in by using your Gmail ID or mobile number, by default, all the details which are stored in the Google, and if you remember, after logging in, we will give some permissions to that applications, right? That means we are giving permissions to that applications to access our data. So all those applications will have our data, like our full name, our phone number, our Gmail ID, our age, and our gender as well. If we don't give, I mean, we don't directly give to the Netflix people our age and gender, but as we give these details to the Gmail, to whenever we are creating Gmail ID, every detail will be stored inside the Google, and we are giving the access, we are giving permission, or we are giving access to get that data from the Google to that applications. Okay. So what I want to say is, so all these with all these applications, all our data will be present. Okay. So when suppose as we are talking about Netflix now, once we log in into the account and once we start watching any movie, suppose we watched one movie, at that time all our data will be stored with that Netflix people, like our username, our all the details, and what movie we watched, right? At the back end, what Netflix people will do for, just give me a moment, guys. 1 second. Yeah, sorry. So at the back end, what it happens for not only with Netflix, every such kind of applications or e-commerce websites, there will be one separate data analytics or data analyst team with them. Okay. So what their data analyst will do, they will analyze our data. They will store our data and they will start analyzing our data. How they will analyze in the sense, not only for single user, they will take bulk users and they will start analyzing the things like, like 20 to 30 age group of male people, males, 20 to 30 age group of males are interested in watching which kind of series, or like teenagers, 13 to 19 age group of females or males are interesting in watching which kind of movies. Like that, they will, they will keep the track of the data. They will analyze everything, and according to that they will suggest, they will they will keep that, analyze whatever data they analyzed, all that data they will push into ML model. There will be one machine learning model, they will push all that data to that model, and once the data went into that model, that ML model will only automatically give the suggestions to the users. This is what it happens in the backend. And I just said, or I mean, I just explained everything about this just to uh, know, just to make you understand what it happens in the back end. That's it. Okay. So what I wanted to say is, everything, whatever I said just now, in that SQL developers will be there, data analysts in the sense, maybe Tableau developers, Power BI developers will be there, and ML engineers and data scientists will also be there. This all these roles will be involved to complete this entire process. Okay. Simply we are getting, in few seconds we will get some suggestions, but at the back end, everyone will work to get that exact suggestions for us. And I wanted to convey that everything what just happened, what just I explained, this everything will be depend on data only, right? All on all our data only, everything is happening. This is just the example of Netflix. If we talk about any other e-commerce websites or any other applications, everything will be done based on our data only, based on the data only. Okay. This is the importance of data. I just wanted you to understand the importance of data in our daily life. That's the reason I explained this, everything. I took this Netflix example for you. Okay.
Okay, understand.
Great. And everyone, please respond in chat, guys. If you have any doubt, you can just ask me at any point. Okay. You can just unmute yourself and you can ask, or else you can just type in chat also. I will continuously, I will check the chat box also. No problem. I'll respond to you. All right. So every day, as we are generating huge amount of data, we need to have some good ways of storing the data, right? We are generating data like anything. but there should be something to store the data in a proper manner, correct? So how we will store all this data? Ma'am, is there any difference between SQL used in data science field and other? No such differences. SQL is only one subject. Whether we will use SQL in data science or whether we will use that in full stack development, everything will be the same only, no difference. Okay. What level of SQL we are going to learn from here? Yes, by the end of this class, I will explain to that question, Ramkoti. Okay, I will show you the content index of the SQL also. Okay, and yes, Maruti, database is the right answer. We will store, as is asked previously. I asked that there should be some good ways of storing the data, right? So database is the right answer. We will store the data in the database, MySQL and SQL Server. Yes, I will get to that point also, Naveen. Please wait. Okay. So before that, let's talk something about storage capacity now. If you actually think about storage capacity, if you actually realize storage capacity is also increased over the years, right? If I ask you, yes, Maruti, I know Telugu. I'm a Telugu. I know Telugu, but I will explain the content in English only. But still, if you don't understand anything, you can ask me. I will convey that point to you in Telugu. I will try to convey that in Telugu for you. All right. So, yeah. So, if I ask you how much memory you have in your phone, your answer would be maximum like 64 GB, 128 GB, 256 GB, right? Suppose
Yes,
if you're correct, definitely. If you are suppose uh, if you are using 128 GB phone and if I ask you, can you think of buying a new phone of 16 GB? What will you say? What will be your answer, yes or no? Please type in chats. If suppose currently you are using 128 GB phone and next phone when you will buy, do you think of buying 8 GB or 16 GB phone? No. Okay. But if I say you can buy a phone of 8 GB or 16 GB and you can never run out of memory, is that possible? Of course, yes. Because of any guesses? Because of cloud, right? Nowadays, everything moved to cloud. Storage is also moved from physical device to cloud storage, right? We have many clouds available in the market. And the benefit of the cloud storage is, of course, we won't think of buying 8 GB or 16 GB phone for sure. But still, if we buy also, we can manage the storage with the help of the clouds, correct? And the most important benefit of using clouds is you can actually access your data from anywhere we want, right? We can just log into our cloud account and we can access our what is cloud storage. It is just like a Google Cloud. We will there, no? Google Photos will be there. Google Drive will be there. Something like a cloud storage. Those all those applications is considered as a cloud only. See, if you are using any Android mobile, if you are using any Google, you might have already seen about Google Photos or Google Drive kind of things, right? Those all are clouds only. Once you upload or once you synchronize your photos to the Google Photos application, from wherever you want, you can access that Google Photos application, right? From maybe from your phone, maybe from your laptop, wherever you go, you can just log into that account and you can access everything. Same with the Google Drive also. It is also a cloud storage. If we save any of our files in the Google Drive, we can just access it easily from anywhere. Whenever we are running out of storage in our phones, basically we will what we will do, we will push the old data into the Google Drives or Google kind of storage platforms, right? Those are called as cloud storages. Okay. I guess I answered your question, Rajesh. And so, yeah. It's not basically a physical system. If we think about hard disk, which we have, or pen drive, which we have, that will be the physical storage device. But cloud is not the physical storage device that will store, that is invisible for us. We can just log into that accounts and we will use, right? That kind of systems will be called as cloud storage systems, that they are not physically visible, right? So because we know data is growing exponentially, now for organizations also, what is just happening, they cannot keep on changing their hardware every day, right? So they need some systems which can be scaled up instantly based on the requirements. For example, here also let's talk about, let's take one example, and let's talk about Paytm. We all know about Paytm, right? So what happened when demonetization happened? If you remember, a few years ago, demonetization happened suddenly, right? And everything moved to digitalization, right? Everyone started doing digital payments at that time, correct? So what happened at that time? Basically, especially to the Paytm, that organization had a big setback at that time because their data increased rapidly. Because everyone within one night, like overnight, everyone started doing digital payments, and the load of the services increased like anything. That company needed big servers to manage and to store that data. If you remember, before demonetization, most of us or many people don't have this kind of online accounts like phone pay, Google Pay, or Paytm. We didn't maintain those accounts, right? We did everything cash payment only. Once demonetization happens, once they started removing or banning some kind of notes, then everyone, we started depending on that applications, right? It may be phone pay or maybe Paytm. In the initial stages, everyone's believed in using Paytm first, right? So especially this company, what situation they faced, in the sense, at that time, within overnight, they had to change their servers. The company needed big servers to manage and store the data, and they had to change their servers overnight to increase the capacity to handle and manage that data. Okay. The reason I'm giving you all this scenario is, first of all, you have to immerse yourself into that, how data is coming. Okay. And how we being human beings, how we involved in the world of data nowadays. So that's where you can understand the need of learning about all these things like databases, SQL, why SQL and databases are important. To understand that, I said a few examples till now. Okay. Is it clear? Whatever I said so far, is it clear for you? If it is clear, let's get into the
Yes,
actual
madam.
technical concepts. Great. I want response from everyone, guys. Please respond in chat. Great. Perfect. All right. So with this, let's start the concept of databases. Okay. So to understand what is database and what is SQL easily, let me explain you by taking one simple example. See, I am trying to explain everything from basics. I'm considering each and every student. If any student, they are from non-IT background and fresher, and if they don't know anything about SQL, from that point of view, I'm explaining everything. First 2 days, if you have some knowledge on SQL, maybe first today or tomorrow, you may feel this as familiar kind of thing, but still I suggest everyone to listen to me so that everyone can able to understand everything very easy. Okay. So basically, what is database and what is a SQL? Let's take one example. 1 second, I'll open. So imagine, let me. All right. So just imagine there is one school. Okay. This is school. And in that school, let's talk about 10th class. There are 3 sections like 10th A, 10th B, and 10th C. Okay. And in every section, there will be some students, right? Now let's assume in every section, they will maintain one register. Okay. Like this is the register. Basically, when we are studying, when in our school also, our teachers used to maintain registers in our classes, right? In which, in that register, just imagine that register, all the details of the students are there, like, roll number or student ID of the student and name of the student, maybe the marks and attendance of the student will be stored. Okay. So what happened one day, principal wanted to check their students progress and he called his peon. Okay. Principal, what he did, he called his peon and he said his peon to bring that register. Okay. So what peon has done, he went to the, suppose he went to the 10th A. Consider principal wanted to check the 10th A students register. So peon went to the 10th A class, he took the register and he gave it to the principal. Okay. In that register, all the students data is there, like student name, student ID, the marks of the student and attendance of the student. Okay. Just imagine like that. So all the details are present. Now, if we want, so what I just said, there is one school, there is one section, and they maintain one register in which all the student details are there, right? Instead of maintaining the data like this, if we want to maintain the data in the computer, how we will do that? Instead of maintaining the data in the registers or books, if we want to store the same details in computer, where we will store? We will store in databases. Okay. Imagine this is a database. If we want to store in the computer, we will store inside databases. Okay. Data is stored in databases. And when principal is asking for peon to bring the register, he might have used some language, right? It may be English, Hindi, or Telugu. He might use some language to convey his message, correct? So in the same way, if we store the data in the databases and if we want to get that data, we should also use any language to communicate with the database, right? That is nothing but SQL, SQL. See, when principal said to peon, he might suppose imagine he said in Telugu. Okay, in Telugu, principal said to peon that go to 10th A and just bring the register. Then only peon understood what is the requirement of the principal. He went to the 10th A class and he took the register, right? In the same way, if we maintain the data in the form of databases, what we will do? There should be something in between to communicate to the database what is our requirement, right? Same like the language, same like the Telugu language. Here, to make understandable to the databases, we will use SQL. Okay, SQL is a language. By using SQL only, whatever requirements we are there for us, that it will be communicate to the SQL is the language used to communicate to the database. Okay, by using SQL, we will communicate to the database. SQL in the sense structured query language, which we will use to convey our message or to make database understand exactly what we want. Okay. Basically, SQL is a language which we will use to communicate with the databases, right? So here, the school or the class will be the database. Okay. If we compare with the school and the databases, we can, how we will relate with each other in the sense. Here, the school will be the database where we will create tables. Okay. Here, register is there, right? This is register. Let me change the color. This is register, and inside the register, we saved the details of the students, right? If we store the data in the databases, the register will be the tables. Basically, inside the databases, the data will be stored in the tables. And all the tables will have some rows and columns, as we know, right? So, in registers, we maintain all the student details, right? Like student ID, student name. In the same way, if we maintain the data in the databases, we will keep all that data in the form of tables. And table is a collection of rows and columns, okay? We will store the data in the form of rows and columns inside the table, and the table will be stored inside the database, okay? And when we want to display any details from the tables, we use SQL. Okay. Structured query language to make database understand what we want, right? Suppose if I want to display the student marks of the student whose student ID is 2, I will give that, I will make database understand by writing a query in SQL. That is the language we are using here is SQL to communicate with the database. Okay. Clear, guys? Did you understand what is database and what is a SQL? Do you have any confusion or is it clear? Of course, Excel also. In Excel also, we can store the data. But as we are talking about the databases, I took the example of the database to make you understand the SQL. What is SQL? Okay. So let's see, first of all, let's see the technical definitions of SQL and the database. Okay. Database is nothing but is simply called as a collection of data. Okay. 1 second. Database is simply called as collection of data. Okay. And as I said, inside the database, the data will be in the form of tables, right? The data will be stored in the form of tables, and it will be in the tables, in the sense it is a collection of rows and columns. I guess this everything is already known to you, correct? And what is the definition of SQL? Basically, SQL is, we will use SQL. SQL is used to communicate with the database. Okay. SQL is nothing but structured query language, right? So till now, whatever I said, is it understandable for you? Did you got some idea about what is database and what is SQL? If you have any confusion or if you have any doubts, you can just ask me directly. Just just message in the chat box. Is it clear? If it is clear, please say yes. Please, guys, please respond. If you have any confusion also, no problem. Please tell me. Okay. Everyone, I want response from everyone, guys. Great. Mostly I can see yes and clear. That's great. So this is about database and SQL, structured query language. Okay. And SQL is a programming language used to interact with the database. Okay. This is also, I can say it is a perfect definition for SQL. SQL is a programming language used to interact with the database or used to communicate with the database. Okay. Now, let's understand the difference between MySQL, SQL Server, MongoDB, everything. Okay. Basically, you may have heard about all these things. What prerequisite knowledge needed for SQL? Nothing, Rajesh. SQL is basically, it is the basic subject. No need of any prerequisite knowledge. Without anything, you can learn SQL. Okay. Nothing is needed to learn SQL. So you might have already heard about something about these terms. Like you might already heard about these terms like MySQL, SQL Server, SQL Server, and MongoDB, right? There are many other things. Oracle SQL. Right? So these are all SQL tools, I can say. MySQL, SQL Server, MongoDB, Oracle SQL, Amazon Redshift, like that. There are many other tools. So what is the difference between them in the sense? Nothing. Basically, all these things, whatever we use, all these things will be run by using SQL only. SQL in the sense structured query language, that is a common language used to communicate to the database. We need to learn only SQL, and these are all different tools to handle the SQL. That's it. The concepts will be same. Okay. Whether let's specially talk about MySQL, SQL Server, and Oracle SQL for now. Let's forget about MongoDB. So MySQL is a product from Oracle. Okay. SQL Server is a product of Microsoft. And Oracle SQL is also, of course, a product from Oracle. Like that, each and every companies, they have their own products. These are all the products, but SQL is only is one and only language. By using SQL only, we will use all these products. Some companies will use MySQL, some companies will use SQL Server, like that. But the language is same. Whatever concepts we will learn, that we will learn everything. We will call that subject, or we will call that language as SQL only. Okay. And what if you learn SQL, you can use each of these things. There won't be much difference. Only slight differences in one or two topics. Slight differences are there between MySQL and SQL Server, but the concept is same. Okay. And nowadays, many of the companies, or I can say 80% of the companies, are using MySQL only because it is an open source product. Okay, open source in the sense the companies whichever they will use MySQL, they need not pay any amount to maintain the MySQL. It is freely available for all the clients. That's the reason most of the companies, even MNCs, are nowadays preferring to use MySQL only because it is free of cost. But to maintain SQL Server or Oracle SQL, they need to pay some amount like monthly or yearly wise amount to maintain these databases. That's the reason, as MySQL is freely available nowadays, many companies are using this one only. That's the reason here in this institute, we are teaching MySQL only. Okay. Basically, these all are different tools, but the concept or the subject will be the same. Okay. We will learn the subject only by using the MySQL tool. That's it. Someone asked the difference between MySQL and SQL Server previously. I hope I answered your question. And is everything clear so far?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. So by using SQL, what we will do? Let's try to understand that. First, by using SQL, we will store the data. Okay. We'll store the data by using SQL, and then we will retrieve the data. Okay. And next, we will manipulate the data. Retrieve the data in the sense displaying the data. Okay. And manipulate the data. Okay. Manipulating the data in the sense changing the data or updating the data. Okay. So basically, by using SQL, we will store the data, we will display the data, and we will update or we will make any changes to that data. Okay, which we will learn slowly. What is how we will display the data, how we will do manipulations to the data. We will learn everything very practically in our next classes. Okay. And one more thing, SQL is a relational database. That is, as I said, in SQL, the data is stored in the form of tables, right? And all the tables are related to each other. Okay. There should be something in between the two tables so that we can relate that tables. And that's the reason SQL, this is called RDBMS. That means relational database management system. Okay. As tables are related to each other in SQL, it is called as voice is slow. Okay. Am I audible now?
Yes, madam.
Yeah. Okay, great. So as the tables are related to each other, we can call it as RDBMS, Relational Database Management System. Okay. So now next I wanted you to explain see, data is, we can store data in many forms, right? It can be Excel, right? It can be PDF, it can be text file, correct? It can be in the form of images, and it can be in the form of databases. But though we have this many options, why we are using databases? Now I want to explain you what is the use of databases, why we are using databases. Okay. And to explain that, let me show you one file. Suppose I'll just open one file, 1 second. See, guys, let me clear you something. As this is our first class, I'm telling everything in a in from starting. I mean, I'm telling everything from the basics. And first 1 or 2 classes, maybe it seems like it will feel like a theory part. Once we're done with our 2 classes, from the 3rd class itself, I will show you how we will install SQL, MySQL tool in your laptops, and we will start, understanding, and we will start learning everything very practically. Okay. First, before getting into the, directly before starting, before we start writing the queries, I want you to understand each and every basic concepts first clearly, like what is database, what is SQL, what is the need of the databases, like that. And then from tomorrow, we will get into the actual concepts. Okay. So now let's try to understand the importance of databases. Okay. Suppose we are talking about any e-commerce company. Okay. If that, suppose, just imagine I'm the owner of an e-commerce company and I want to store the data in the Excel file. Okay. Then how I will store? I will store in this format, right? Like whenever I will sell any order, there will be order ID generated, right? This is order ID, as you can see here, order date, customer ID, customer name, address, product ID, product name, price of the product, supplier ID, supplier name, and manufacturer name. To save our time, I already wrote this data here. Okay. All right. Now, this is how I store and manage the data within the Excel. What is the limitations, or what is the, I can say, what are the drawbacks or challenges Excel can have when comes to the storage of data? Any guesses? What will be the first issues we will face? Instead of, instead of storing the data in the databases, if we store this data, if we store the data like this in the form of Excel files, what will be the disadvantages?
Any data deleted. Yeah, any data deleted that I have stored the Excel sheet.
Yes, it can be deleted. Okay. And any other guesses?
Number of rows.
Correct. Number of rows. Perfect. Data limit. That will be our first point. The first point is data limit. Okay. That means in Excel, we can store up to 1 million rows only. Okay. 1 million rows only. You cannot store more than 1 million rows. So we will face a storage issue. I can name this issue as the storage issue. Okay. In real time, as we all know, we will deal with big data, right? But we cannot store more than 1 million records in Excel. This is one drawback. Okay. This is our first challenge. And second challenge is performance issue. Performance issue. As the data size increases, performance goes down. Okay. Here the data is small. Here I wrote only 10 rows of data, or else only 9 rows of data, right? Here the data is small. So if the data is small, it is well and good. But if we want to store thousands of data or lakhs of data, just to open that file only, it will take some time to load the data, right? So we will get performance issue. Excel. That will be our second challenge, right? And the next challenge is accessibility of the data. accessibility of the data. That means if we want to see any particular data, we need to apply a lot of filters to get that data. Suppose if I want to see any particular data, like there is a customer name called as Joseph. If I want to see that data, I need to apply a lot of filters. Here we have only small less data, but if we have big data and if I want to see that particular data, we need to apply a lot of filters here, right? Accessibility will become a little bit harder here when comparing to the databases. Okay, so this will be our next challenge. And the next one is, and of course, the most important challenge is data redundancy. Okay, data redundancy and wastage of memory. See, if you see in this data in product name column, let me show you the data first. If you see here in product column, the data is repeating many times, right? Like, smartphone is repeating many times. Here in each and every time I wrote a smartphone, right? Here I'm capturing the data again and again, correct? And the same goes with the manufacturer column also and supplier column also, and repeating the data. I'm writing many times, right? I wrote Samsung many times. I wrote here home traders many times, right? I'm repeating the data again and again. It leads to wastage of memory, right? So see, when we keep on writing the same data again and again, memory will be waste for us, right? For example, if I talk about the firms like Amazon or Flipkart, they would be selling millions of similar products on daily basis, right? Suppose if we take about iPhone, they will sell some thousands of iPhones every day, right? And if they keep on storing the product name again and again, their memory will be wasted, right? Correct?
Yes, madam.
Yes.
Right. So that's where we need better data management system. So instead of storing data like this, if I store all this data, whatever data we saw here, if I store all this data separately, let's see how it will be. Okay. See here, there is customer data, right? We have customer ID, customer name, and address. I'll just copy this data and I will paste it down. I will write first customer details table. I will give one table name and I will paste that columns. I'll paste that data here. Okay. See, this is customer details table. We have customer ID, customer name, address as a separate table. What I'm doing here, I'm trying to divide this big table into smaller tables. I copied customer ID, customer name, and address. Okay. So this is one table for now. One table for me. So if I already stored these details in this table, do I need to maintain this customer name and address here again? No, right? I can remove this. I'm just deleting this here, right? Because I'm storing the customer details in a separate table, but I'm leaving customer ID here as it is. Okay. In the same way, let's create one more table for products. Okay. Here I'm writing the table name as products detail table. Okay. And what I will do, I'll copy all the product details from the first table. Okay. And I will paste it at the bottom. Right. So this is my products detail table. I have product ID, product name, and price. So I can remove product name and price from here. Right. I'm removing product detail, product name, and price from here. In the same way, I will keep the supplier details separately. Let me write it as supplier details table. Okay. And I will copy all the supplier details from here and I'll paste it at the bottom. Okay. Right. Now I will remove the supplier name and manufacturer name also from here. Okay. See what I did. First, this is my base table, right? Then I created some more tables here. I created customer details table, product details table, and supplier details table separately. Now I have 4 tables. And if you observe clearly, there is something in between these tables like customer ID. Here we have customer ID in the base table and we have customer ID in the customer details table, right? So in the same way, we have product ID and product ID, correct? Supplier ID and supplier ID, right? There is something common in between all these tables so that we can relate to that tables, right? We can relate this base table with this customer tables. That means if I don't maintain the customer details here also, still I can understand the data because I can see here C1 customer order ID is 1 and his order date is 12th. Okay. And I can come to the customer details table and I can see the details from this table. C1 is John and he's living in lane 1, right? In the same way, product also, I can see, I can understand if I want to know what is the product C3, customer ID C3 is bought in the sense, what I can, how I can see, here we have C3, C3 product ID is P3, and we can go to the product detail table and we can see he bought micro oven, right? In this way, still we will get all our answers. What we did, instead of using one single large table, we divided that base table into smaller tables, right?
Yes, madam.
Correct. So I created all the separate tables here. This way, storing data in different tables, by breaking the data into smaller chunks, I can overcome the problem of data repetition. Okay. Here, what I can do, instead of storing the supplier ID again and again, I can just remove this. I can just store S1 is home traders and S2 is AM traders, right? Manufacturers also, I can remove everything and I can see by storing like this, what it happens, it will, it will reduce the repetition, storage repetition kind of thing. Previously, what we did for supplier IDs, we wrote S1 and S2 again and again, right? Here, no need of, if we store this detail separately, that repetition will be reduced first of all. That's how we will overcome the data redundancy concept. And this is how we will store the data in SQL. Okay. Is it clear so far? If you have any doubts, you can ask
Yes.
me. Great.
Ma'am, like performance issue. Yeah, like how performance will be like reduce if you're using databases as you wrote performance issue. Could you please explain?
Performance issue. Okay, actually we have almost 6 points here. I just explained you 3 points. In tomorrow's class, I will continue explaining remaining points also. Okay, and regarding and about performance also, I will explain you tomorrow.
Okay.
If you don't mind. Okay, because I have another batch today at 8 o'clock. So sorry guys, let's wind up this class here. Please connect in tomorrow's class. Is this course knowledge enough to get a job? As a fresher, it is enough, Naveen. And of course, if you have 2 to 3 years of gap also, that is fine. Okay. Let's
Ma'am,
see
are you
remaining.
teaching? Ma'am, are you teaching complete data analyst courses?
I will teach separate concepts actually. If you from today itself at 8 o'clock now itself, we are going to start a new batch on Tableau. If you want
Yes.
to attend, you can attend for
Yeah, yeah,
Tableau.
I got to know. So that's the reason I'm asking. Are you taking like complete data analyst courses, which is required?
Not now. Previously in Durgasoft only, I taught a separate complete package as data analyst in which I taught SQL, Python, and Tableau and Excel. But now I'm just teaching separate classes, not all together.
Okay,
Because to
fine.
finish that, we are taking at least 4 months of time, right? That's the reason we are just dividing the courses separately and we are
Okay,
teaching. All right.
fine. Thank you.
So we have 6, actually this limitations also we have 6 points. Let's continue this class tomorrow, okay? And from tomorrow all we will learn everything. Once we finish this concept, we will learn everything practically. And in tomorrow's class, I will show you the index also. Or else if you get from Durgasoft also, I guess in your mails, you will get the course content topics. You can just go through it, okay?
Okay.
All right, guys. Thank you. Let's meet tomorrow.